Ever wondered why some men seem to effortlessly stay on a woman's mind? It's not about looks, money, or smooth talk. Those things might get her attention for a moment, but they won't make you unforgettable. The truth is, what really makes a woman obsess over you happens on a deeper level, psychologically, often without her even realizing it. If you're tired of chasing and ready to start attracting, you're in the right place. In this video, you're going to learn 5 powerful techniques rooted in real psychology and timeless masculine energy. These aren't pickup lines or cheap tricks. This is about mastering yourself so completely that she feels drawn to you, even when you're not around. Stick with me, because we're starting with a move that instantly captures her focus, and ending with the one that locks you into her thoughts for good. Let's kick things off with one of the most underrated but powerful traits you can develop: saying less and doing more. Most guys think they need to impress her with stories, promises, or clever lines. But women have heard it all before. Talk is cheap, and they know it. What actually gets her attention and keeps it is action. When you live with purpose, follow through on your word, and stay consistent, you become the kind of man she remembers. You don't have to tell her who you are. She sees it, and that sticks. But there's something even deeper happening here. When you act instead of speak, you become harder to read. You create mystery without even trying. She'll find herself thinking about you long after the conversation ends, replaying moments, wondering what's on your mind and why you're so composed. That quiet confidence, it's unforgettable. Let your actions speak for you, and suddenly you're the guy she can't stop thinking about. And hey, if this is already hitting home, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and drop a comment. Tell me, what's one action you're taking today to raise your game? Here's something most men completely overlook, but it's one of the most powerful ways to stand out in her mind. Staying calm in a world that constantly pulls people into chaos. When everyone's panicking, when emotions are running wild, and tension fills the air, the man who remains calm becomes magnetic. He becomes the anchor, the one who doesn't flinch, doesn't rush to react, doesn't let the world shake his center. And that kind of emotional control, it's rare, and women notice it immediately. Think about it. She's overwhelmed, her day's falling apart. Most guys rush in, trying to fix things, over-explain, or even panic with her. But not you. You don't absorb the chaos, you neutralize it. You listen without judgment. You speak with purpose. You hold your ground without letting the moment control you. And here's the effect. She starts to feel something she didn't expect. Safe. Safe around your presence. Safe in your energy. She starts to rely on that calm, starts to crave it. And that emotional security, it lingers. Now, a quick warning. Calmness only hits the mark if there's already a connection. If you come off cold or disconnected, she might misread it as indifference. That's why timing matters. Show restraint when it's needed, not to impress her, but because you're grounded in who you are. When you get this right, you don't just stand out. You become the man she thinks about when life gets heavy, the one she turns to mentally when everything else feels uncertain. That's power most guys will never understand. Let's talk about something that flips the entire dynamic and instantly makes you stand out from every other guy she's dealt with. You have to let her feel that she doesn't control you. Now, that doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means being grounded in who you are. Too many men lose themselves trying to win a woman over, constantly adjusting, pleasing, chasing, hoping for approval. But here's the truth. The moment she feels like she's got you wrapped around her finger, the excitement fades. You become predictable. And predictable isn't attractive, it's forgettable. But when you don't give her that control, when she starts to sense that you're not emotionally dependent on her response, that's when things shift. You become intriguing. You become the one guy who isn't scrambling for her attention, who has his own direction, his own mission, his own life, and she'll feel that. She'll start wondering, why isn't he chasing me? Why does he seem so grounded? What makes him so unshakable? That curiosity grows into attraction, and that attraction, it sticks. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about showing her that you don't need her validation to feel valuable. You're confident whether she's paying attention or not. And ironically, that's what keeps her coming back, because she has to earn your attention. So if you want to live rent-free in her head, stop letting her set the emotional tone. Keep your energy steady. Let her feel the tension of not quite having you. Because when she's the one trying to figure you out, that's when you become unforgettable. Here's a shift that most men never even consider, but it's one of the most powerful moves you can make. Be more interested in yourself than in her. At first, it might sound selfish, but it's not. It's confidence, it's purpose, and it's unbelievably attractive. Think about how often guys make the mistake of orbiting around a woman, dropping their plans, changing their goals, and constantly checking in just to stay on her radar. And what happens? She loses interest, because when you put her at the center of your universe, you show her that you've got nothing else going on, and that kills the mystery. Now flip it. When you're deeply invested in your own growth, when you're chasing your goals and building a life you're proud of, she notices, and she starts to wonder, why isn't he obsessed with me? Why does he seem so content on his own? What's going on in his world that I'm not part of? That curiosity becomes attraction, and that attraction becomes obsession. You're not ignoring her, you're just not revolving around her. You're showing her that you're the kind of man with direction, focus, and discipline. And that kind of man is rare. The more she senses that your attention has to be earned, not handed out freely, the more valuable it becomes. That emotional tension, that's the hook. She starts analyzing her own moves, trying to measure up, wondering what it'll take to win you over. So if you want to be unforgettable, make yourself your #1 priority. Not to impress her, but because you know that the strongest relationships are built when two whole people come together. You're not looking for someone to complete you. You're already complete. And that mindset, it drives her wild. Now here's the move that takes everything we've talked about and turns it into something unforgettable. Learn how to disappear and reappear when she least expects it. This isn't about ghosting or playing games. It's about using presence and absence strategically. Because here's the truth. When you're always available, always replying, always showing up, she stops noticing. You become predictable, safe, easy to overlook. But when you pull back just enough to let her wonder, where is he? What's he doing? Why haven't I heard from him? That's when the real psychological magic begins. Her mind fills the gap you've left, and in doing so, she becomes more invested. Now here's where it gets powerful. The reappearance. When she least expects it, maybe she started to think she's moved on. You show up, not just casually, but with presence, with energy, like a spark. And in that moment, you're not just a memory, you're a feeling. That contrast, being gone, then suddenly back, creates a loop in her mind. A loop that links you with excitement, mystery, and unpredictability. She doesn't know when you'll show up next, but she starts hoping that you will. But listen closely. This only works if she knows you're capable of disappearing. If you've always been there, always accessible, she has nothing to miss. So you need to pull back just enough to create space and then return with impact. Let her miss your presence. Let her feel the silence you leave behind. And when you come back, don't come back half-hearted. Re-enter her world with purpose, with confidence, with intensity, and watch her thoughts orbit around you. Not because you forced it, but because you mastered the art of being felt, even when you're not there. Now that you've got these 5 powerful strategies under your belt, you're no longer guessing, you're equipped. But remember, this isn't about manipulation. It's about becoming the kind of man who naturally draws women in without chasing them. Attraction isn't built on desperation or overexposure. It's built on presence, discipline, and emotional control. When you stop trying to impress and start focusing on becoming unshakable, something shifts. You become the mystery she can't quite solve, the calm in her chaos, the challenge that keeps her coming back. So ask yourself, are you ready to stop chasing and start commanding attention without saying a word? Picture her mind drifting back to you throughout the day, wondering what you're thinking, when you'll show up again, and why you've left such a deep impression. That's what happens when you live with intention and apply these truths consistently. Don't let this knowledge go to waste. Put it into action. Because the moment you do, you stop being just another guy and start being the one she can't forget.